Hello, landmines and jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess, and it's day 2438, and I feel like I'm getting really close to finding the shed where McDonald's keeps Grimace locked up. We're not there yet, but hold on to hope, you guys. But do me a favor and hit that like button or the terrorists win, and on our last live stream, we went in on the concept motto, or motto. I don't know how they want you to pronounce it, but either way, we went in on this thing. So, let's take a look at what we're holding, because it'll bother you if I don't. And you know I love you. So, first things first, and most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. We have got the carbon fiber with the yellow inlay. We have got a thumb hole. Let's flick the hole. And we got a hair over 3 inches of CPM S35VN steel. Okay, now that that's out of the way, this is one that I carried for a week quite a while ago, and I remember liking it well enough, but the access to the thumb hole right here is absolutely atrocious. Somebody really messed up on that. They could have just carved this a little bit deeper and gave you more access to the thumb hole, and it would have been fine. You can get used to it, but man, that was annoying. And yeah, that was the only real drawback I found to this thing. And the cool thing is they're like $150, or they were at the time of purchase on Amazon through Concept Store. But they were on sale for 40% off, and Bees Blades, which go check him out if you're not familiar with him. He is a really friendly guy. But Bees Blades had a code for 50% off on top of the 40% off, and only 4 people could use that code. And I managed to get in there and get one for myself. So this thing wound up being $15. 15 American dollars. It was a great evening for me. But you know, we had this in the box for a random roll live stream, and if you're not familiar with that, we lay out 5 knives on the table with associated numbers. We roll the 20-sided die of destiny and see which one we got, and we got this one. So let's go and let's take a look at our timeline of events, and let's take a look at the pile in the garage that we made. So with this thing, we started off at a 266 to 237 on the factory edge here. It showed some wear and pretty high numbers, which, like, normally I prefer seeing, like, 150 to 175 on a factory edge, but this thing definitely wasn't having it. So, at an hour, we tested it after cutting cardboard for a non-stop hour, and we got a 348 towards the back, and towards the center here, we pulled a 592. About 10-15 minutes later, that edge was dead. I didn't save the piece of cardboard, but we were in the 600s, which means devastated edge you gotta sharpen. Now, we sharpened her up and got her down to a 126, which is a fantastic edge. That is a fantastic edge. So let's go out to the car hole. I'll show you the pile of cardboard that the factory edge made. Let's go out there now. Party people, welcome back to the car hole, and we're going to take a look at the pile made by the factory edge on the Concept Motto. As you can see, it's a real small pile. Like, this is smaller than expected, but that's what the factory edge did. Yeah, here you go. Let's go back to the table. Okay, so you saw that. It was a pretty small pile, but it's about what we've come to expect out of these knives, especially with the nicer steels, stuff above 8CR. We get that about an hour performance, and then they just give up the ghost, which is factory edge geometry, the edge angle, what have you. I believe this was 21 degrees per side if somebody that went online and looked is to be believed. I didn't go look for it, but somebody else did, and I think they came back with like 21 degrees per side. So we sharpened her up to 126, and we started in again. And let's go take a look at the pile of cardboard that we got on the 17 degrees per side edge bevel. Here you go. Alright guys, welcome back to the car hole yet again, and here is the pile made on the 17 degrees per side edge bevel on the Concept Motto, who knows how it's pronounced. But it really came into its own and cut up quite a bit of cardboard. Let's go back to the table. Alright, now that we're back from the car hole, you can see, like always, that 17 degrees per side edge bevel resulted in a lot more cardboard being cut than the factory edge did. I love the 17 degrees per side edge bevel, especially with the high polish on it and the nice wide laid back bevel on it. Oh man, just so good. So good. But after the first hour of non-stop cutting in the center here, we hit a 473, we found a 486, and then we found a 401. So the 486 was definitely the worst spot we could find. After an hour, we found a 452, a 494, and a 452 kind of circling through here. We hit the 3-hour mark, we hit a 537, a 549, and a 582. And of course, that 582 meant that that edge was about to let go. And sure enough, 10 more minutes in, and we started getting that on our cuts. So we went ahead and called it there, and we sharpened her down and got a 139. So we're going to break out the edge sharpness tester so I can show you what we're talking about with that. And this was kindly provided by you guys through your super chat donations, your super chat or your channel memberships, what have you. So thank you for that. Always, always, always grateful for support. But if you haven't seen this before, and we're going to say it again, the way this works is it measures the number of grams of force it takes to cut through the wire on this calibrated test clip. The lower the number, the better. And of course, it gives you a rough ballpark idea where your edge is, because you move that edge around a little bit, you'll get different numbers. That's just the nature of the beast. All right. See, we got a 156 there. So that's still a really good edge. Really, really happy with that. It's a good solid number. Do I have a piece of paper? Yes, I do. As you can see, this thing's been used in multiple videos. Nice clean cut, very low resistance. It took an edge very nicely. And of course, this is the CPM S35VN, which is just, from what I understand, S35VN, and correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But from what I understand, S35VN is already a powdered metallurgy steel. CPM in this case is just the brand. It's made by Crucible Powdered Metallurgy. That's what I understand from the lengthy discussion we had about it. It's functionally not different from the rest of the S35VN, depending on your heat treatment and, you know, your distribution of elements in there. So, you know, overall, it did pretty good. Now, something worth mentioning, too, is the ergonomics. The ergonomics on this are fantastic for the kind of cutting we were doing. Because we're holding it like this, I am holding my cardboard, and we are just pushing through those cuts again and again and again. And you can kind of see right here where the callus rides the back of the knife. Now, with this having a nice lengthy back strap and next to no gap right here, there wasn't any discomfort. There was not any discomfort on there. Like, it took care of me really well. It's very similar to how the Buck 110 did with the with no gap right here for this to fall into and get chewed up. It did really good. I like the ergonomics for repeated push cuts. Man, that was nice. That was really nice to experience and very, very welcome, especially with some of the knives that we've had in the past that absolutely chewed my hand to pieces. I'm very, very happy with the ergonomics. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I like this thing. I like it well enough. I'm glad I got it at the price I did, because I'm not sure I would have spent full retail for it. But the thumb hole is the one thing that holds it back. Now, there is a front flipper on this thing, but the detent's so strong that the front flipper is basically useless. There we are. It's a very, very strong detent on it, which is not a bad thing. You know, it's not going to let it centrifugal open or anything like that. But very, very strong detent, which is part of what makes the lack of access to the thumb hole a little bit more irritating than it otherwise is just, that's just too little access for the detent being that strong. So, you know, end of the day, all in. I like this thing well enough. I don't like the access to the thumb hole. If the thumb hole was a little bit larger, I'd say this was an absolute stellar performer and an absolute winner. At $150, I'm not sure whether or not it's $150 worth of knife. That really depends on your own proclivities and preferences. But they did a good job. You know, the carbon fibers saved some weight on it. It's abnormally light for how large it is and how beefy and thick it is. So it's got its qualities. It's just, man, that thumb hole lets me down. I am disappointed at the hole. Wait. I'm going to stand by that. I'm disappointed by the hole. But, yeah, so, I mean, it's a good knife with a bad thumb hole. So, all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. Y'all keep coming in. I appreciate you so, so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We got our live streams, regular videos. There's plenty of activities. Comments, I love some feedback. Let me know what you think about this thing or anything else. Of course, I got my Amazon shop linked off. You don't have to use it, but it's the easiest way I've found to show you cool stuff that I've found in the last couple of months here. And all that being said, y'all have a nice day.